Hello guys, welcome to Singles and Spouses, a channel that's created with a mission to bless singles, spouses, and those that are in between. Yeah. Today's topic is dear to us, more or less like a personal life, but just a talk around that.
Yeah, just to help people, because we've had people come to us and ask us, how did you make your intertribal marriage work so well? You know, what are the things you did, what are the things you did not do? How did you go about it? Parents' position, you know, that sort of thing. And so we just thought, why not do a video and explain this, and let it go around, let it help someone out there who is thinking it's not possible.
Yeah. So the topic is
3 agreements that intertribal couples should make before they get married.
So let's go for it. Number one.
Okay, so the first agreement I think that we made was that we would choose our own traditions.
Yeah.
And that was very crucial for me, especially because this idea that you are marrying the man, so you are leaving your family, you're living your life, you're living your identity, and you're getting married, and then you're going to drop all of that for him. It was a bit scary, and that's one of the things that actually scares ladies.
Yeah.
So they feel, let me not just marry any tribe. But once you are there, you are gone, and then you have to do their own things. You have to choose their own ways, even when it is inconvenient, or even when it is actually downright bad. You have to obey it and all that. So people say, because of that, they see someone who is great, who has every other thing, ticks all the boxes, except the person is not from their tribe, or the person is from one tribe that they have these funny assumptions about, and then they say no because of that. So for me, instead of just saying no, I said, you know what, let's negotiate. So I said, hey, what tradition will apply in our family when we start this family together? And we're able to discuss and agree that we will make our own traditions.
So when we coined the topic, the name of that first point, choose. We're trying to let you know that it has to be a choice that both of you will make. But in the essence, it's actually that you need to create a tradition. So you are not choosing either person's tradition. It's not a matter of choose between the two, which way you will follow this day. No, that's not what we're talking about. You're going to make a hybrid eventually. Whether it's tilt to one side more, it depends on both of you. It's going to be a choice that you are both going to have to make together. So usually in science, hybrid is usually supposed to be stronger than either of the true breeds. So it's expected that the tradition you're going to come out with will be the best of both traditions, right? Yeah. So we're not saying you throw away your tradition, but let that marriage give birth to a hybrid tradition that is a final copy of both.
Yes.
More like best of both worlds.
And the truth is, you don't even really have to stick to either one of your traditions. You can pick another tradition. You can come up with something completely different. What is important is that it is convenient and comfortable for the both of you. Yes, and both of you are happy with it. Nobody is doing it because they don't have a choice and they are miserable. Both of you have decided, you sat and you considered it, and you know that this pays both of you. I think that's very, very, very important. So for example, it could be about where you live. So you can get married, and the man tradition is that he lives in a particular place. Maybe these are all the other siblings in his family, this birthday, or it could be, we have to attend the man's church. No, you don't have to attend the man's church. If that church does not work for both of you as a couple, because I expect that before you get married, you have your couple goals, you have your relationship, your marriage goals, you have your parenting goals, you have your own value system, what you've created for your own family. That's why it's important to plan for your family. You're not planning for your family as a part of another. It's a standalone family. So if both of you have decided that, this is our parents' church, will not work for us, maybe either the wife's parents' church or the husband's parents' church, then both of you can pick a church that works for both of you.
Prayerfully.
Yeah, prayerfully decide a church that works for both of you. There's nothing like our parents' church, our family church. No. So that's just an example of something that you can decide that works for you, and you don't have to go with what was in the flow before or what was the tradition of the family or the parents' family before. Okay, so the next point is we come first. We come first.
Usually, right, when you marry someone, and this is peculiar to most tribes in Nigeria, right? It's like you are married into that family, so you understand, you are our wife, so you don't kind of belong. So the siblings, the parents, in some cases the uncles, the aunties of your spouse, either male or female, see you as, okay, we married him, we married her, or we married into our family, so it comes after we have finished our discussion. No, it's good that they understand that, oh, I'm joined to this person now. So this person and me are together. Meaning that if I have to make any move, this person comes first before we start talking about another. That way, your relatives, your siblings, your parents, your uncles, aunties, they can't easily just brush off or brush on or have rough patches with your spouse. You understand? They give you that kind of respect. They give your spouse that kind of respect that he or she truly deserves. You understand? Because of the place that you've put the person in your life. Yes. You recognize each other as a we. And usually, this is one major thing that we mention to most people that pass through our counseling classes, right? That you are together against the world, and the world includes all these people that you loved before you met him or her, right? Yes, you still love them; they are still your loved ones. But now you are a we. You are no more an I. You understand? You are now a we, and both of you should come first. You understand? Before you now go outside to take maybe the small outer circle of your siblings, your parents, and the larger circle of your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, and all that. You should always put the person first.
Yeah,
so we come first.
Yeah.
The moment that person knows, your spouse knows that they come first in your mind, in your conversation, and the moment they come first in your mind, your conversation, it will also reflect on the way your siblings, your parents look at them. It becomes easier for you both to do marriage together.
Yes, and I just want to add this, that if you don't give that impression, if you don't give impression both to your spouse and to your family, it's going to rub off on how to treat the person.
Yeah.
So for example, if you have to speak in English in a family function, for example, I know this thing happens a lot too, where there's an intertribal marriage and both spouses can't speak the other person's native language. You go for family functions and things, and they are saying no, they have to speak their language and all that, and it now begins to make your spouse feel like an outsider. Don't settle for those kind of things. Don't allow for those kind of things. Now, I'm not saying you should completely throw your tradition away, but they can make it easier, for that other person to follow the activities, to partake of the activities,
in the conversation.
or in the conversation, rather than them being left out simply because they don't understand the language. And please don't tell me that you should learn the language. That's not why you didn't get married to learn language. You can learn language on Duolingo. You can learn language online.
Don't start your marriage with language lessons.
That's not why you get married. You don't get married to learn a language. You can do that without getting married. So if the person has not been able to get it, you shouldn't make the person an outsider. If you have to eat a particular meal or not eat a particular meal because of your spouse, then you need to put that person first. You need to put that person's feelings first. If this is the way we do things, but it's at that point in time not convenient for your spouse, then make that effort, make that sacrifice.
Yes.
Basically put them first.
Yeah.
Let them know that you have their back, that nobody in your family will talk about them in your language, and they won't know that, oh, this is the, you would laugh. So I see things like that. You will laugh with your family against your spouse in a language that your spouse doesn't understand, and you're comfortable.
No,
You're comfortable.
it should never even be mentioned.
It should not be.
In fact, one of the things that we did then that helped us is, if I'm having a conversation with my mom, my parents, my dad also on the phone, and my wife is not there, the moment my wife enters, I switch to English. If we're having a face-to-face conversation also, and my wife comes in, we switch to English. And if my mom doesn't catch, because we have to tell our parents, right, that, oh, this is our plan in this family. If you come, when they have to come, both of them for Mugo and all that, if they come together, we're gisting, and the person comes in, please let's switch to English so that the person is comfortable, the person can partake in the conversation if they want to, and the person doesn't feel like left out, you understand? And that helped a lot. In fact, there are several times back then that I'll be speaking with my mom, I will switch to English, my mom will be like, oh, your wife has come, and stuff like that. And yes, they might struggle with it a bit, but they became cool with it eventually. And it worked for her.
And then your marriage is all the better,
Yes.
So, I mean, it's a sacrifice you should make then. Please make it. All right. And then the final one we'll be sharing today is a balanced cultural perspective. When you get married to someone who's of a different race, and this applies to different race too.
Yes.
A different race, a different tribe. Yeah. Always try to look at them or interpret their actions or their words from their own cultural perspective, because culture has a way that it influences the way we think. It influences the way we even interpret. The way you interpret your language from English to your own language, it's different. They don't always usually sound the same. It's the same thing too when it comes to cultural practices, backgrounds, mindsets, and all of that. A lot of times it is steeped in the culture that we grew up in. It is steeped in the language we spoke growing up. It is steeped in all of those things. So a lot of times you need to cut your spouse, some slack, because that thing that they are saying, that thing that they're thinking, the way they're behaving might not be personal. It might just be based on some cultural perspective that, if you could just tune your mind to, apply yourself, you understand that that's where they're coming from, and it will not be a source of problem. So, for example, your spouse, maybe they're from a place where they travel every Christmas and they need to go home every Christmas and all that. Don't interpret it don't always come from an angle of, oh no, you have to do this for me, no. See it from, okay, based on their own cultural perspective, it's important that they go home. And when you can see, it's not that the person just wants to make you miserable. The person just wants to stress you. No. See that it's important to them that they travel. Every time, interpret it from their own cultural perspective. And it will make life easier for you, right? I mean,
the moment you understand the other person, you understand the perspective of their culture, it will be easier for you to even communicate with the person. And it makes it easier for your spouse also to understand you. Yeah, you can only communicate to someone in the language that they understand. There's something I know my wife had to do. Our culture doesn't particularly go around kneeling down to pray. But I know that whenever she kneels down to greet my parents or any elderly person that's required, she's doing it with an interpretation of my culture. You understand? She's doing it out of the love of the respect and the respect she has for that culture, so that they can understand that she respects them. She loves them without kneeling down. But she's interpreting it
from their own perspective, yes. So even though it was a bit uncomfortable, it was just a matter of, if they see respect in this light, let me do that for them so that they see that I respect them. Even though in my mind I know that I respect them without having to do all of that, but I had to say, you know what, their own cultural perspective, it's worth it. That's why marriage is about sacrifice. That's why marriage is about compromise. You can't always hold on to your own part and say, no, it's my own. No. There are so many times where you need to give in for some things. There are times when you need to make a sacrifice because you want to be happy. You let go. You let go of a lot of things. You do some things to make the other person happy. And at the end of the day, I do not see you having any issue that you cannot resolve. If both of you can have each other's back 100%, you can't take the chance of getting married to someone who is of a different race or a different tribe, and it will be absolutely successful.
Yes. And let me shock you guys finally, right? There are lots of same tribe, same race weddings that are struggling.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the tribe.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it.
I even hear people used to say then that I can't marry someone from another tribe. Which language how can I not speak the language of person?
I think that's even more.
English is a language.
It's not even priority. It's not even priority per se. So please, guys, let's get our priorities right. And
if that's the only reason why you don't want to marry somebody who is perfect for you, I think you should think
you
again.
should start reconsidering.
Yeah.
And then seek help.
Also, yes, get
counseling, with a guide. You'll be able to know how to navigate that. So because a lot of people are also not prepared for
what's coming.
Yeah. You need to be prepared for it. We hope this has blessed you. We hope this brings some warmth into some marriages and some relationship also. It helps calm all the tension that might already be going up and
Yeah.
and you can have the marriage
of your dreams.
Love you guys.
Bye.